Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Divorce Coach Diaries. So, today I want to talk about an idea that's sort of been rolling around in my head for the last couple of weeks. And that is the idea that comparison is the thief of joy. And this quote or this idea is usually attributed to President Theodore Roosevelt. And when I did a little digging, it was interesting because what I found is that there isn't any real record of him saying this. They can't find it in his speeches or in anything that he wrote, but this encompasses the way that he lived his life. And I've been thinking about this, and I wanted to call this episode Comparison is the Thief of Joy. Or is it? Because I think we do ourselves a disservice when we look at ideas like this in very black and white. And so I wanted to tease it apart a little bit and talk about the ways in which I do absolutely think this is true, and also the ways that it's not, and how to tell and what to do about it. So, one of the ways that I do agree with this idea is it puts us into a trap of measuring our worth by looking at somebody else. It's the opposite idea of all ships rise with the tide. When we're comparing ourselves to someone else and using that to measure our worth against, we will always lose. For instance, when we look at these curated reels or videos or photos, posts, stories on social media, almost all the time, people are showing us their highlight reel. We compare our everyday lives or some of our really hard chapters to other people's best moments. I know you can all think of that person who is in your feed that it feels like every other week they're on this fantastic, amazing vacation, for instance. And you might think to yourself, this is so unfair. Their life is perfect. What is the matter with me? What did I do wrong? Everything's gone wrong in my life. My life sucks compared to them. And, we measure our worth, and sometimes it even fosters real jealousy, which also does not help us or serve us. It only tears us down. And it feeds our insecurity about who we are, the chapter of our lives. So, this is absolutely one way that comparison robs our joy. Second of all, it can block our gratitude. When we fixate on what other people have, we miss what is good about our life. We're telling our brain, look at all these things outside of us, and we're telling our brain to look for what we lack. It can also stifle or shut down our authenticity. We all are unique. We all have beautiful things about us that nobody else is or has. And the world needs us at our most authentic and our most real. You are not for everybody. I am not for everybody. And when we try to be for everybody, or when we try to compare ourselves to everybody else and try to be more like them, we turn into this watered down version that we think is for everybody and ends up not being for us and not being for anybody else either, because we value so much the authenticity in others. We value that in them, and yet we are afraid to show our authenticity to everybody else. It doesn't feel safe. And sometimes it's not. But in those relationships where you do feel safe and you do trust those people, show up as yourself. You will not regret it. The more you are with your people, the more connection that you will foster. On the flip side, there are some really beautiful elements to comparing ourselves to others. There is a difference between healthy comparison and toxic comparison. One leaves us feeling inspired and motivated, even, and the other leaves us feeling defeated and shut down and wanting to quit. So, if we use comparison as a mirror, then we get to open ourselves up to what is this comparison showing me that I want? Because sometimes comparison can clarify our desire. This envy of our friend who is showing us all their amazing photos of all their world travels, it might prick something inside of us that points to something that is really a pure desire inside that we might have been pushing down. So when we see those vacation photos, is it jealousy or is it a clue that you want more of that in your life? And while not all of those things are available to all of us right now in the very same ways for lots of reasons, there are ways that you can fulfill your desires that are itching to come out of you. So, another way that I think comparison really serves us is it shows us what is possible. It gives us a role model to look to. If it's possible for that person, they're no different than us. And it could be possible for us as well. And we can use what someone else has accomplished, the goals that they have reached, things that they are cultivating in their lives. We can use that as inspiration and as motivation. If they can do it, maybe I can too. And that's what I love about comparison. So, how do we tell the difference? How do we tell if the ways that we are comparing or the meanings that we are giving is going to inspire us and energize us, or if it's going to deplete us? How do you feel inside? Is it robbing you of your joy and of your gratitude? Or is it putting a little kindling on this tiny little secret baby desire that you have inside? Do you feel motivated when you are comparing, or do you feel worthless? So, here are a few questions that you can ask yourself to know what this comparison is doing for you. What is this showing me about what I value? What's possible for me? Am I using this comparison to beat myself up and tear me down, or to dream bigger? So, as always, we want to use this information as awareness. So, again, my friends, comparison can rob our joy, but it doesn't have to. So, if you find this coming up, just be onto yourself. Slow it down and recognize that it's not necessary to just not pay attention to anyone outside of us. We can, if we allow for it, use those comparisons for growth and for information and inspiration. So, Is there someone or something that you have been thinking about while you've been listening to this? If so, pay attention to it. Maybe journal a little bit about it and journal why your default brain is telling you this isn't fair. This person has it better. Everything about my life is terrible. Now what? When you feel that come up, be gentle with yourself. It's normal. It happens to all of us at some point or another, but we don't have to keep it there with a little bit of awareness and intention. So switch your focus a little bit to what is this telling me about myself? What does this person have that shows me what's possible? And what might one step be to get a little bit closer to this desire that lives inside of me? Thanks for listening today, my friends. Come and find me everywhere at Meg the Divorce Coach, and I'd love to meet with you if you want some help flushing out comparison in your life and how we can turn it around and use it for self-improvement. Book a free coaching call. megthedivorcecoach.com/free coaching. I can't wait to meet you. I'll see you next week.